This is KGW News at noon.
An entire generation is now saddled with unsustainable debt in exchange for an attempt, at least, at a college degree.
That's President Biden announcing moments ago his plan to eliminate some student loan debt. It's something that he promised during his campaign for president. Thank you for joining us at noon. I'm Brenda Braxton. Now, this does not wipe out all student loan debt, but it will make a difference for a lot of people. People who make less than $125,000 a year will get $10,000 in debt relief. The same amount will be deducted for couples who make less than $250,000. Pell Grant recipients will be eligible for an additional $10,000.
Many people can't qualify for a mortgage to buy a home because of the debt they continue to carry. They carry, it's too high. They can't come up with the down payment anyway. A lot of folks are even putting off starting families because of the cost. And the dream of starting your own business is just way off in the distance with the debt that so many are saddled with.
President Biden is also extending the payment pause on federal student loans for a final time through the end of the year. He is continuing to speak. We will stream his comments for you live on KGW.com. The Republican leader in Congress is here in the metro area today. Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy is stumping for congressional candidates and making the case to voters that liberal policies have led to rising crime in Portland. He'll be holding a roundtable discussion this afternoon at a hotel in Tigard. Oregon has a brand new 6th congressional district, and Republicans see this as an opportunity to gain an additional seat in Congress after Democrat Kurt Schrader lost in the primary. KGW's Evan Watson will be at this event and will have a reaction coming up for you tonight on the news at 5. Hey, speaking of elections, some key races in Florida are now set after last night's primary. Representative Charlie Crist will try to unseat Republican Governor Ron DeSantis. And another race could decide power in the U.S. Senate. Here's Shaquille Brewster in Fort Lauderdale.
The general election matchup here in this battleground state of Florida is now set. After a contentious and expensive primary, we saw Representative Charlie Crist secure the Democratic nomination for governor. He will now face incumbent Governor Ron DeSantis. And already this morning, we're seeing a little bit of a preview of the fight ahead. Crist coming out with a new campaign ad, a digital ad, painting DeSantis as a bully, saying that he's too extreme for the state of Florida. We'll see DeSantis out on the campaign trail, flying around 3 major media markets in this state. He's already gone after Crist, saying that he will be divisive and that he's too extreme for Florida and that he won't protect what he calls Florida's freedom. We also are watching a big race for Senate. Val Demings last night securing the Democratic nomination to go up against Marco Rubio. While the primary battle for her wasn't that tough, this will be an extremely close matchup in the general election. We can expect to see a lot of money spent in this race. It will receive a lot of national attention, and this is a race that could determine control of the U.S. Senate come next year. In Florida, Shaquille Brewster, NBC News.
The largest wildfire in Oregon right now is the Cedar Creek fire in Lane County. Today, fire officials say helicopters will continue water drops. The air support helps because this is burning in steep, difficult terrain in the Willamette National Forest. It's burned more than 7,100 acres about 15 miles east of Oak Ridge. At this point, it is 0% contained. Right now, there are no evacuation orders in place. Well, it's been 2 years since Oregon's historic wildfires in 2020, and some families are just now getting back on their feet. That includes a Clackamas County family who finally has a place to call home again. As KGW's Christelle Kumwe explains, a dedicated group of volunteers helped make it happen.
The 2020 wildfires ravaged communities across Oregon.
Smoke was just black. It was so hard to breathe.
Shyla James lives in Molalla with her daughter and remembers the evacuations.
We only could take our goats and our horses over to the Clackamas County Fair, and we were the last to return after about 2 weeks.
By then, their home was damaged beyond repair.
So it was pretty traumatic. It was pretty upsetting and shocking, not knowing what to do.
That's when Shyla heard from the Clackamas County Long-Term Recovery Group.
Our mission as volunteers is to support, rebuild, and recover the community here of Clackamas County.
Volunteer Pat Olson says the group formed 2 years ago. It's funded largely by private businesses and nonprofits and serves as a lifeline in the wake of the 2020 wildfires.
So our help includes actual home building, and I call it soup to nuts, all the way from permitting, working through land use.
They rebuilt Shyla's home from the ground up in about 8 months on the same property her old home used to be.
So it's been almost 2 years since we were living in our home.
Thanks to the Clackamas County Long-Term Recovery Group, Shyla and her daughter have a place to call home again in their beloved community.
And I have relatives all around. I grew up here, over 50 first cousins. My family came in the 1800s, escaped from communism in Poland. So it's really neat history, and we're thankful to be able to stay here.
Christelle Kumwe, KGW News.
Wow, what a story they have. Glad that they're doing okay. All right, let's take you up into the Cascades. Not much snow on Mount Hood this afternoon, but wow, look at that blue sky. Just gorgeous with a few puffy cotton ball shaped clouds overhead. Temps down here in the metro area, they're going up again into the 90s. Rod is here now with a look at that forecast.
Yeah, and it looks like, Brenda, we might just get up into the 90s. Hopefully that means you'll find the afternoon to be not too bad. We are seeing sunshine, most of our live cameras. Here's Cannon Beach live. It was cloudy this morning. See some folks out there enjoying. The tides come back in a little bit. This morning, folks were walking out to Haystack Rock. 60 degrees is the temperature there. Downtown Portland, bright and sunny. Yesterday, I think it was 74 at this time. Today, 77. So we're not running that much above yesterday. Yesterday, only got up to 87. So I'll be surprised if we don't at least get to 90, but we may not get much above that, as I mentioned. There's the same blue sky down in the valley. That's Willamette Valley Vineyard sitting just south of Salem. So 77 right now. The forecast models are insistent we get up to 93, so we'll see. I think the question is, could we get above 90? Not that we want to. The forecast for the weekend still has that Saturday shower chance, and we'll talk more about that coming up.
We'll see you then. Thank you, Rod. We're working to get some answers about a shooting in McMinnville. Witnesses tell us a man is dead. This happened just after 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon near Northwest 2nd and Hill Road. Witnesses tell us McMinnville police responded to reports of a man with a gun standing out on the sidewalk. Neighboring businesses had to go into lockdown. Jeff Johnson lives in a nearby apartment and says his girlfriend was home at the time.
Said that she heard a shot fired, and then 10 minutes later sirens, and then a few minutes after that 10 cops banging on the door to be let in upstairs to go into this person's apartment.
A witness tells us she also heard a single gunshot. She shared this photo showing first responders performing CPR on the man. She says they spent about 10 minutes trying to revive him, but she doesn't believe that he survived. It is unclear who fired the shot that the witnesses heard. Tim Gordon is heading to Yamhill County today to get some answers from police. Now to our homeless crisis and how it's affecting schools. The first day of class in Portland is next Tuesday, August 30th. Last week, the mayor expanded an emergency declaration banning camping in busy areas where K through 12 students walk to and from school. It also forbids camping within 150 feet of school buildings. The city is notifying campers up to 10 days before a sweep and offering them shelter beds along with free storage for their things. Right now, officials are prioritizing camp near elementary and middle schools.
I was very much for it. I'm very happy about that. It needs to happen. It's dangerous. We can't have these people around our children. Too unpredictable.
Just homeless people don't need to be around schools when the schools are in session. Period.
Many people say the idea looks good on paper, but they don't see how this is going to be enforced, or they say they don't believe it's going to help the overall problem.